Christian airman fighting for his career after being punished by his female commanding officer, who is an open lesbian, when he refused her order to support same-sex marriage, or at least they had a disagreement. I spoke with Senior Master Sergeant Philip Monk just last month when he said he was just trying to express his own religious beliefs.
Line is I wouldn't agree with a certain mindset or a certain way of thinking, because I have a deep religious conviction and belief, and as a result, I was let go.
All right, now he is facing an investigation and possible court-martial after talking to the media and arguing for what he says is his First Amendment right. Joining us now, Tony Perkins with the Family Research Council. And Tony, there's so much more to this story. There are so many twists and turns. We know that that sergeant was transferred. Now, the military has said that transfer was long going to happen. It is not a punishment. He did have a disagreement with his commanding officer, but that he wasn't punished. Your take?
Well, Shannon, that's kind of hard to back up. The reality is this is not an isolated case. In fact, it's interesting. There's more backstory to what Senior Master Sergeant Monk, as he simply refused to go along with a statement of supporting same-sex marriage. He didn't come out against it. He was forced to say, I support it, and he wouldn't do it. What happened was his pastor, who was at a church there, a Baptist church out in San Antonio, had preached a message about how we've got to stand up for what we believe in, and that's a part of our, not only our obligations as Christians, but it's our right as Americans. Come to find out, Pastor Branson held a forum last week in his church, and about 80 different members of the Air Force came forward with different stories. This is not isolated. We're seeing that the military has become extremely hostile under the Obama administration toward Orthodox Christianity.
Okay, so after I talked with the sergeant, and he has talked with a couple of other media outlets, he and his attorney, he said he decided that he wanted to push back against what he perceived as a reprimand or any negative treatment in his file or according to his career, because it will impact him down the line.
Absolutely.
And he decided to say, I would like to appeal what happened here. He and his attorney went to meet with a superior, and at that time they say that he was told he was going to be read his Miranda rights, and he could be facing criminal charges, potential court-martial, for making false official statements regarding this case. He said he immediately felt like that was an issue of retaliation because he did decide to go public with this, and that is now playing out. How serious could that be? We know it's just an investigation at this point, but where could it lead?
Well, look, he has 19 years of service, a spotless record, and as you said, he filed a complaint because he felt he had been discriminated against because of his religious beliefs. Then all of a sudden he was read his Miranda rights and said he is the subject of an investigation, as you just stated. It's absurd to think that he made an official false statement, because he didn't make any official statements. He made a statement to the press that he believed he was being discriminated against based upon his religious conviction. So again, I think what this is, it's more than just this case with Sergeant Monk. This is a pattern under this administration to intimidate and silence those who would challenge the direction that the Obama administration is taking our military.
Let me ask you about this. Last year, Congress approved a so-called rights of conscience for military members. The law is Section 533 of Public Law 112-239. It says the military must accommodate conscience, moral principles, or religious beliefs of the member, and so far as practicable, may not use such beliefs as the basis for any adverse personnel action. Now, the military here has said there hasn't been any adverse personnel action, but we're moving forward in other directions now. Why wouldn't a law like that apply here, or does it?
It does apply there, and in fact, this shouldn't have happened if that law had been applied the way it should have been. Now, it's actually being strengthened. The Defense Authorization Act, which is still in Congress, hasn't been passed for this year, actually goes a little further to protect beliefs. Look, under the Obama administration, it's become very difficult as a person of faith, a religious person, to simply walk out their faith. I mean, living your faith in the military has become like walking through a minefield. And so it's not just a matter of conscience. It should be the ability to live out your faith. But in this case, that's what it was. He was not even allowed to hold a view that was contrary to his lesbian commander.
All right, well, there's a lot of back and forth on this story. I know that the pending defense authorization bill, both the House and Senate have versions that would add additional protections for military members, so we'll see how those play out as well. Tony Perkins, thank you for your time.
All right, Shannon, good to be with you.